good, glorious day. I'm appealing for 5 minutes of your time. Of reading and giving understanding to the Word of God. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Be you followers of me, even as I am of Christ. So Paul's saying, I follow Christ, so just follow me. If you don't know him, follow me. I'll lead you to him. Now, I praise you, brethren, that you might remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. What's an ordinance? Well, an ordinance is the precept, especially is a law or a tradition. So what would he look at that as a more easily digested explanation? It's what we've taught you like doctrine. It's like, what are we going to learn about in this session? So in verse 3, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. So the head of a man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. So he's laying out a structure for men and women, and every man praying and prophesying, and every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. Now, this is an interesting take. This is him saying, if your head is covered, this is not good. So this is probably where that tradition of no hats worn in church comes from. It's kind of directly in line with this. But every woman that prayeth or prophesy with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one as she were shaven. So he's saying this is like being naked head. Now, Paul's not picking on people that have sickness or disease or problems. He's saying in general, if you have covered your head, it's shameful because you are hiding whatever it is before the Lord. Now, if you've uncovered your head as a woman, it is shameful because there is an intended covering as a position before the Lord. I'm not saying this is a doctrinal, this is the way it has to be. I'm just explaining what this says. For if the woman be not covered, let also her be shorn, which means shaven. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. So he's like, okay, if it's shameful that you're coming, like in the case, let's say of cancer, if you're like, I'm just ashamed, this is embarrassing, I don't want to do it. It's like, okay, well then there's a way for you to be covered. It's peaceful. Again, he said, this isn't a law. This is a suggestion. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for so much as he is the image and glory of God. That's a great reason. Think about that. You are the image and glory of God. Man. So he's saying, don't hide that. Let that shine before other men. Now, the contrast is, but the woman is the glory of the man. Why? Because Eve was taken out of Adam. Adam actually went into a physical state where God took a piece of Adam, a rib, and he built Eve off of that rib. So the woman came from man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. It's just a statement. Don't get all up in arms about it. He's just explaining what it is. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. The intention was that the woman was created for the man. Now, this really gets confusing and simplified at the same time. So it really gets simplified if you're in the confusing area of what really Western society is bent into up until very recently. However, the very clear definition is simple, that the man was created, neither was the man created for woman, but the woman created for man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. That's also quite interesting. That's like a whole Bible study. And